hope everybody had a great weekend. I had a productive one. Can't complain at all. But got to get back to business, right? And one of the topics at hand that I'm sure many of you all have probably been waiting for me to talk about, this controversial Tulsi tweet. So I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible. I don't want to talk about it too long, but there's some important stuff we need to discuss. There are two parts to this conversation that need to be had. The first thing is, Tulsi was wrong for that tweet. Her message, I understood. Her message about reaching across the aisle to get things done, talking to people that you disagree with to get things done, is actually pretty consistent with her message overall. She's worked with, anybody and everybody. And as far as her criticizing, she's criticized both the Democrats and Republicans pretty evenly. She still gets flack from the Democrats for criticizing Obama's administration so often. Oftentimes not to mention is how often she critiqued the Republican side of the aisle while under the Obama administration. So this is something that's pretty consistent for her. Her point about Elizabeth Warren and Kamala are also both right. Warren could care less about black issues. She's never cared about them before. She's not going to start. I don't believe I should believe her just because it's a political opportunity for her. Kamala has the nerve to talk about black issues and critique Biden let's be honest, Kamala set the record for putting black men in jail. She worked to keep black men in jail in California, and seemed like she took a lot of pride in that. So as far as the capitalizing on the political opportunity side, that part is true. Now here's where Tulsi gets it wrong. Tulsi is wrong for the same reason that I said Bernie Sanders was wrong for calling Biden a friend after touting his racist history legislatively. Like they know, well, Bernie specifically knew what this man had done and still called him a friend. I critiqued him harshly for that. Tulsi, I don't think knew exactly what was released that day, or as far as the details to how bad legislatively Biden was when it has come to race. But specifically, when we're talking about the statement that he made about working with segregationists, this is why Tulsi has it wrong. This is why I've asked Tulsi to delete the tweet and to apologize for it. And I haven't talked to her in great detail about it. I made the campaign, know how I felt about it, but the debate is the main thing on the mind. So that's what basically everybody's been focusing on. I have no problem with that. That's something we can take care of after the debate. But at the end of the day, while she's in Miami, I will try and have a conversation with her, because as a black man specifically, that took a toll on me. And I consider Tulsi a friend at this point. A little bit more than a colleague because of the mutual respect to have in the way we see eye to eye on most things. And I think that, she has a type of heart where she will see eye to eye on this. But she was wrong here. The reason why, it isn't because Biden reached across the aisle to work with segregationists. That wasn't actually the issue. The issue was because Biden reached across the aisle to work with segregationists to continue segregation. That was why he reached across the aisle. It wasn't that he worked with segregationists that people were pissed off about. It wasn't any of that. It wasn't working with the enemy. It wasn't that. It was specifically because he worked with segregationists to be a segregationist. That was the issue. And when you say something like, "Oh yeah, it's important to reach across the aisle," and it's crazy because almost every other part of that tweet I agreed with. But you can't defend Biden. You can't normalize his behavior. You can't normalize somebody that disingenuous. You can't normalize someone is not only the enemy of the progressive movement, but the enemy of any progress that you are personally trying to make. Biden has never once legislatively reached across the aisle to make progress. He's only reached across the aisle when it is time to hold the marginalized back. That is why she was wrong for that tweet. And like I said, I've expressed this to the campaign. I didn't really overreact to it, but I felt like I had to say something, not even as as a commentator, or as an analyst, or as an avid voter, or somebody involved, like personally, you can't celebrate in any capacity what Biden did. That is the opposite reason of why we should be reaching across the aisle. The only time we should be reaching across the aisle is for progress. Period, point blank. Does that mean I'm gonna crucify her for it? No. But like I said, she knows that my endorsement relied on my objectivity about her. So when it's time to celebrate her, nobody will celebrate her louder than myself. And when it's time to critique her, I have no problem doing that. And this is one of those situations where it's absolutely time to critique her. And we have to help her understand, and especially myself, given, being a black man in this country and probably understanding, I've gotten a lot of feedback from a lot of black people, and I've heard what you said, and I agree with you for the most part. And this is something that I get where she's coming from, but this is one of those all lives matter situation. It's one of those situations where if you're not going to say Black Lives Matter, you shouldn't say anything at all. If you're trying to be an ally, but you just don't know the right way to go about it. Now, here's the other side of that coin that I want to discuss. Like I said, Tulsi was wrong. With the assertion that she made about Biden, not the unity part, not the reaching across the aisle part, but basically giving any credence to the things that Biden has done in any way, form, or fashion. Here's a problem I have with the way this entire situation has unfolded and the reactions that I've seen. Most of y'all motherfuckers is hypocrites. Y'all are hypocrites. There are people talking about cancel Tulsi, and these people, ironically enough, a lot of the time are Bernie supporters. Not that I have a problem with Bernie supporters at all. That's not the issue. My problem is this. If anybody has been watching my channel, then you know there has been a similar situation like this. And you probably only know because I said something about it. Why? Because for the same reasons I'm critiquing Tulsi, or that I just critiqued Tulsi today, those are the same reasons that I critiqued Bernie 3 or 4 weeks ago when he would tout Biden's racist past, his legislative issues that are like all he does. Basically, Biden has made a career out of profiting off of the backs of the marginalized. You can't call him friend. You can't normalize that behavior. And it says something about your character to some degree if you are willing to normalize that behavior by calling someone like that your friend. Not even just a colleague, but a friend. And interestingly enough, all the people who wanted to be, Tulsi's canceled, this is an atrocious tweet, to try and blast Tulsi over, because once again, in context, the Biden comment, if you take the Biden comment out, everything she said about the situation was true. Warren and Kamala are trying to capitalize off this politically. You do have to reach across the aisle to get things done, and you do have to sometimes swallow your pride and do what you have to do. All that's true. The Biden part should be critiqued. But on the other side of that coin, Bernie did the exact same thing multiple times on camera, and the same thing was true. Everything that Bernie had said was true. The critiques of his legislative record compared to his, especially his critique of what he's done with the crime bill, all that stuff is true. And Bernie still called Biden a friend. Did any of these same people who have had their mouths wide open, ready to cuss out Tulsi, ready to cancel Tulsi, did they have anything to say about Bernie? Any of them? That's my point. This is a shit that I have been saying from day one. I said I don't have a problem with people who critique Tulsi in a legitimate way. Just like I've never had a problem with people who critique Bernie in a legitimate way. Why? Well, for me, as an analyst, as a commentator, I've always done that. I've always taken hits for that, actually. Not forever critiquing Tulsi, but every time I've critiqued Bernie. Because people are sycophants. They worship the ground the man walks on. Half the time, at this point, it's not even about his policies. It's just they want to see that race won. The race that Bernie started and they started with him, they want to see it won. They believe it's his turn. I'm not saying that Bernie is Hillary. Don't take it like that. But what I'm saying is his candidacy is creating some of that same effect. People are not thinking objectively. They're basically they are being told to, they're reacting in the same way that a TYT person will react. Because why? That is the dominant narrative that TYT and people who align with TYT politically, that's what they've been preaching this whole time. Bernie is above critique. Tulsi, you can shit on all you want to because she's standing in Bernie's way. And Elizabeth Warren is Elizabeth Warren. She might win, so we'll be nice to her because she's nice enough that she might include us on the team one day. When half of these quote unquote progressives, these Bernie supporters, found out Warren was taking money from political PACs, a lot of corporate money from billionaires, getting propped up with Neera Tanden. If Tulsi sat down with Neera Tanden one-on-one, y'all would be wilding the fuck out if Tulsi sat down with Neera Tanden to even have a conversation. TYT brings her on multiple times. Neera Tanden loved Elizabeth Warren. Nobody had a problem with, well, I ain't gonna say nobody, but most people didn't have a problem with that. Not the Bernie supporters anyway, who are still saying that Warren's your second choice. But if Tulsi did that, she's canceled. Tulsi was wrong about the Biden aspect of her tweet, and I do believe it was made out of, I don't want to say ignorance, but a lack of knowledge about what that specific comment that Biden was referring to, that what he was talking about. I don't think that she understood the context of that comment that he made. Because most people didn't, honestly, until that day when all those letters dropped from the Washington Post, where we found that out. And I'm not going into details about all the letters. I'm doing another video on that later. But a lot of people didn't even know that until that day. Literally the same day as that tweet, where the letters showed Biden saying verbatim, I want to get these Republicans to work with me on my anti-busing legislation. Which was which is basically segregationist legislation. So she didn't know. And here's what was even more interesting about this bullshit. The black people were mad, but it was about as mad as we normally get when somebody who doesn't really understand what they make once again, and people know what, black people specifically know what I'm talking about, makes one of those all lives matter comments by accident. It happens. We get it. We are generally understanding because we understand that as a white man from Vermont, Bernie cannot possibly internalize our experiences. As a Polynesian woman from Hawaii, where there's like 0 black people, there's no way she can understand our experiences or predict exactly how we'll react off of that. So black people were like, hey, she has to get this together. This can't be the move. This can't be the message. And I felt the same way, and we all agreed. And it was, she has to fix this. We understand where she's coming from, but hey, got to get it together. Now the fucking white people, the white people who are, once again, these are Bernie supporters who are doing this. And I want to be very explicit about that because I want to draw the contrast here. The white people with the white savior complex. The social justice warriors who care more about black issues than black people. And there are a lot of them. Just like there are a lot of social justice warriors on the right that care more about their flag waving Bible violators. I call them the heathevangelicals. The heathevangelicals that pretend they're Christian. They care more about the book, the Old Testament, and all the scripture they can use to denigrate and demonize other people, then they care about actual Christians themselves dying in the streets every day from being homeless, being starved, whatever. So it's just like that on the social justice warrior right as it is on the social justice warrior left. They care more about black issues and how it makes them feel good to talk about it than black people. Black people reacted accordingly to that tweet as they should. White people, Bernie supporters specifically, oh, she's canceled. Always knew there was something wrong with her. I can't believe I gave her a chance. I was trying to be nice. I was trying to think of, hold up, pause. Y'all same motherfuckers who had Warren. I just accidentally came up with that. That was nice. Y'all same people that had burnt Warren at number 2 until a week ago when I finally broke the news on here and a couple other people picked it up about Warren taking money that we told you she was taking already, but you had to see something else to prove it. Y'all still had her at number 2, and it was tearing y'all apart to even hold her accountable for the money. Tulsi makes it a tweet mostly calling out Warren and Kamala for pandering, which was true. Mostly talking about reaching across party aisles and talking with your adversaries to get the job done in the pursuit of peace, which is her message. The only part that she messed up was Biden because of the context that clearly wasn't available in that tweet, because the context of it was really, we knew a bit about it, but the letters are what really sealed it for people. But she didn't get the letters because she's been campaigning, trying to run a damn campaign with 4 or 5 people at the top. I don't expect Tulsi to get that right every time. But what I do expect, but what should be expected is that if we're going to hold someone accountable, then let's keep that shit consistent. Because I don't give a damn when you want to say, Niko's defended Tulsi. Yeah, I defended Tulsi. But I've also criticized Tulsi, but those are the videos that y'all be wanting to ignore. But, then when I attack Bernie, it's, you're not objective and you're biased because you critique Bernie and you didn't critique Tulsi. I said, no, when Tulsi gives me something to critique, I'll critique her. And guess what? Tulsi gave me something to critique and I critiqued her. But also, Bernie gave me something to critique in this very same issue and I critiqued his ass. And guess what? No one else did. Bernie called Biden a friend. Not, I agree with Biden that we should work across the aisle. That's not supporting Biden. Biden is a really good friend of mine. You're telling me that y'all are more upset with this woman of color saying that she agrees as far as reaching across the aisle. You're more upset at that than this old white man who has already been accused of having issues when it comes to having the blinders on a little bit, when it comes to issues of race, when it comes to being hard-headed, when it comes to issues of race. The old white man can literally call the racist, segregationist author of the crime bill a friend, and y'all ain't upset about that. But you're upset because Tulsi said, I agree, we should reach across the aisle. You're not even upset with the context. Because most of y'all motherfuckers have just been looking for a reason to talk shit about Tulsi. To be very clear, you're not fooling nobody. Black people don't want your allyship. Don't save your fucking fake outrage. Save the fake outrage. We don't need it. When we called out Bernie on that shit, you were attacking us. When we call out Bernie, rightfully so, or critique Bernie, when it comes to certain issues dealing with race. Not even horrific critiques. Not even critiques saying we're never going to support him, but saying, hey, we would really like it if he approved on this particular issue. Y'all attack the black people instead of saying, you know what? If the black people are saying this is something that needs to get taken care of, then maybe we should hear them out and hear what they have to say. But no, y'all attack the black people for critiquing Bernie, like progressives. When I said exactly how Bernie's comments about being a friend to Biden, over and over again, by the way, once again, you say that, well, he's racist. He did do that crime bill. That segregation and stuff was crazy. And those comments he made about the president were wild, man. But hey, that's my friend, though. That's my homie. When I said, this is exactly how this makes me feel, and this is how other black people feel. Oh, well, Bernie's just being pragmatic. He has to watch out how he talks about Biden because of the establishment might hurt him. Bernie got 15 million goddamn dollars. Bernie got 1 million volunteers. Bernie got 1 million different donors. Bernie's filling stadiums with 20, 30,000 people. And y'all worried about him calling Biden a friend? That's going to save his presidency. We can't critique him on that. But Tulsi, who has everybody and their mom out to get her making that comment, albeit wrong, it's not seen as pragmatism. Oh, she's capitulating to the establishment. I knew she was one of them. I knew she was just waiting for opportunity. She's probably just looking for a VP spot on anybody's campaign. Blase, blase, blase bullshit. Let me get through some of these super chats real quick before I go. Natalie Chavez, thanks for the super chat. Thank you for saying what I've been thinking out loud. No problem. That's my job. Ray Foley, appreciate the super chat. Bethlehem, you said, oh my God, preach Niko. Appreciate it. El Rock and Rolla, thanks for the super chat. Ron Dyer 3, thanks for the super chat. Did I miss anybody's? Oh, I hope I didn't. I don't think I missed anybody's. So my point is, like I said at the beginning of the video, in case you showed up late, Tulsi was wrong. I told the campaign, the moment I saw the tweet, it was wrong. We haven't gone into detail. Her and I have not talked personally in detail about it because of the debate situation. We're trying. That's all that's on the mind. That's all that they've been preparing for, and I 100% agree that needs to be dealt with first and foremost. At the debates or after the debates, when her and I get a chance to talk, this is something that we're going to talk about in detail because she was wrong for that. But like I said, anybody who's watched my channel and who's actually watched instead of coming here from TYT to bitch, I don't got time for y'all, then you know that they were probably expecting this video to come. If you would have saw the, like I said, if you come in later, you got to go back and watch the beginning of the video. They were likely expecting this video because they remembered how I felt about Bernie's comments. Why? Because I said the exact same thing about Bernie's comments. Because somebody on this fucking internet, somebody in the damn progressive movement has to be consistent. Somebody, because nobody else wants to do it. I see some of these people, some of these journalists went on Twitter to try and blast Tulsi, but not one of y'all motherfuckers will blast Bernie when it's time to be blasted. Oh no, he's an ally. No, we have to get behind Bernie. Oh, so we don't push Bernie left. We just attack everyone else from the right, or we attack every other progressive from the left. But we can't push Bernie left. Bernie don't need no more. I mean, I ain't gonna say Bernie don't need no more help. Bernie, we all need help. He needs to win. Tulsi needs to win too. We need them to be victorious together. But it seems like the only one y'all want to push right is anybody not named Bernie Sanders. And more specifically, you want to try and prove the efforts that y'all are trying to go through in order to prove that Bernie is so much more left and Tulsi is so much more right. Like she's a closet Republican. It's making everyone who is watching objectively from the outside think that, like, okay, maybe Tulsi's way more left than Bernie, and that's why they're going so way to protect Bernie every single time. And every time Tulsi makes a fucking step, y'all didn't have shit to say about her introducing No More Presidential Fucking Wars Act the week before we're about to go to war with Iran. Y'all ain't have nothing to say about that shit. Y'all had nothing. Nothing. You ain't pushed no Congress people. You ain't pushed Bernie to talk about it. We're about to go to war with Iran. Tulsi's legislation is right there being prepared to be voted on. And y'all ain't had shit to say about that. But let's bitch about a tweet, about the one part of the tweet, and not talk about anything else. Let's talk about the fact that y'all want to talk about all these motherfuckers paying lip service to black people. Tulsi the only one that put her name on legislation to study reparations. Guess what Bernie told us when we asked him for reparations? Fuck y'all. That's basically what he said. He basically said, kiss my ass. If we're keeping it real. I got a lot of love for Bernie. Reparations is not his strong suit. But guess who was for reparations on the dotted line? Tulsi was. Bernie literally, not literally, metaphorically said, kiss my ass. Y'all not getting no check. Or whatever that form of reparation may turn out to be. Kamala said specifically, I'm not giving only black people shit. If you take out the shit, that was a verbatim quote. Elizabeth Warren was very clear that she was bullshitting about reparations. She changed her whole answer. But she got the traction that she needed off of it. So everybody wants to be outraged by Tulsi. The black people were all like, hey, man, she got to get it together. Cool. Got it. Because we on the same page. We don't expect y'all to get our shit most of the time anyway. We need to get it together. We like y'all to get it together, but we don't have that high. We don't have that high of expectations because we already know how the game go. But we do know this. We don't need your fake outrage. Stop pretending to be outraged for us. You don't care. You care about finally getting an opportunity to attack Tulsi. That was your opportunity. So let's keep it 100. If you really want to keep it real, let's keep it real. You as a Bernie supporter, as a white Bernie supporter who props up white knights, because that's what y'all do. Y'all prop up the white knights. Of course, like I've said over and over and over again, Tulsi is a woman of color. So what else is new for women of color in this country who have to compete with their white male counterparts? What else is new? She's always going to be held to a double standard. Y'all are always going to protect the white male. Even if Bernie is as great as Bernie is, obviously it's manifesting as a support of a great man. A lot of the times it does not manifest as a support of a great man. But this time, even if Bernie's record is great, not perfect, but great, y'all are propping him up and holding him to a different standard in the exact same scenarios than you're holding Tulsi, and you're so fucking blind you can't even see the shit. Like, really? Once again, at the end of the day, Tulsi was wrong. Bernie was wrong. Tulsi was critiqued. Bernie was not. Tulsi signed for the support of reparations. Bernie laughed at us in our face. Y'all didn't give a shit then. Y'all wasn't talking about, oh, this is an atrocious take then. Half of y'all motherfuckers was making videos defending the man. Oh, but y'all care so much about black issues and what black people want for themselves and what black people need in their communities and blase bullshit. If you're a Bernie supporter, especially if you're a white Bernie supporter, this is directed specifically at y'all, who all of a sudden cares about black issues because Tulsi had a misstep, then I better see and I better have seen that same energy when Bernie fucks up on our issues. Because if we're going to talk shit, then be consistent. Tulsi was wrong. I don't know how many different ways I can say that. Tulsi was absolutely wrong for the same exact reason that Bernie was absolutely wrong for calling Biden a friend. But where else have you heard that shit? It is sad because you haven't heard it. You know you probably heard it from? I haven't seen the video yet. I think it was Fiorella and Pasta. And maybe I think Jamaro as well. I think Jamaro. And you ain't heard it anywhere else. But those same people will try to say, clearly Tulsi isn't the right candidate for black people. Guess what? Tulsi's the only candidate who will actually sit back and ask black people what they want rather than trying to tell them. Period. So if the reason I'm more upset at Tulsi is because she does know better. She's usually more cognizant of things like that. And she slipped up this time. And she should be called out for it. But I'll be damned if y'all want me to hold her to a different standard than Bernie. I should hold Bernie to a better standard, considering that he was an activist, considering he's been around black people, considering this has been an issue for his campaign in the past. And yet you're still, and your insensitivity to race issues has been called out multiple times. And yet you're still going around calling Biden your friend, knowing he worked with segregationists to propagate segregation. But Tulsi's going to be held to a different standard, though. Why? Because women of color are always held to a different standard, and social constructs have always protected old white dudes. Period, point blank. And y'all know I got all the love in the world for Bernie. But I'm not holding him to a different standard. Just like I'm not going to hold Tulsi to a different standard. Just like I don't expect any well-educated, well-meaning, progressive acting in good faith to hold either of them to a different standard. This is not the fucking real lives of politics 2019. This is real life. You don't pick your favorite character and defend them no matter what, like a WWE fucking wrestling match. You call the facts as they see them. Period, point blank, nothing else to be discussed. And if you have an issue with that, you can DM me and we can talk about it. If you have an issue with that, if you have a problem with it, you can come on my show and we can talk about it. If you think that I'm wrong, come on my show and we can talk about it. We can set up an interview. Y'all got me sweating this bitch. Goddamn, I got work I gotta go do. Y'all, me tired in here, man. I gotta turn off my lights. Look, y'all, I ain't got time for this today. Y'all better get it together and find your damn balance, all right? Peace. Oh, hold on. Let me read the super chats real quick. I don't want to go without reading the super chats. Why Bojezos? Thanks for the super chat. I think Tulsi was misguided, and I wish Bernie didn't call Biden his friend. But to be honest, I don't think any of those things are relatively important. They are important, but they're not important in the grand scheme. I agree with you, but they are important in the sense that they do need to be more self-aware and self-reflective when it comes to those type of issues, and because there are people who are still alive that have been affected by a lot of the policies that Biden or his colleagues have worked to prop up. That's why it's important. And so basically you're saying that their experiences aren't that important, and that's the problem. The experiences of black people who have been marginalized have always been put on the back burner and told, well, it's not that important in the grand scheme, when it actually is. Ray Foley, Bernie said Obama's is his friend. And he did. And I'm sure that a lot of brown and black people overseas and the ones who were deported by the deporter in chief have an issue with that. I don't think they like that very much. Vespa, thanks for the super chat. Let critical thinking be followed by critical expression. Aloha. Real life. I like that. Those are fax machines. For those of you who don't know what that means, fax machine is just facts. It's a lot of facts. So it's a fax machine. There you go. Slang 101. We're going to deal with Ebonics 101 classes. Money Train James, thanks for the super chat. First things first, signing is one thing, and conviction is another. I'll tag you in the video that shows her lack of support for ADOS and women of color. All right, man, send me that video. Jason V, preach, Niko. I didn't like the tweet either, but people miss her broader point, and others use it to try and derail the Tulsi train. 100% agree. Opie 89. Get him, Niko. They always hold women of color to a higher standard. Absolutely, 100%. Thanks for the super chat. Bruce Gustafson. Thanks for the super chat. The more you fake progressives suppress Tulsi, the more will result in Trump winning in 2020. 100% agree. 100% agree. Facts is facts. All right, peeps. Thanks for coming in. I gotta get some work done. Man, I'm actually running late. Woo! All right. I don't think anything else. I don't think I missed anything else. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, people. Always remember, more than anything else, find your balance.